Well, it's been a while since the last video, and I figured it was time for something. So here's an update on the little red truck. This thing's been awesome. I've had it now for probably about 6 months or so. Put a bunch of miles on it, drive it every week, every weekend, and just figured I'd walk you around some of the changes I've done to it. So for starters, 99% of the work I've done, I would say, is appearance-based. So it's got a, I think a 3-inch lowering shackle in the rear, which helps kind of level it out a little bit. It still has a little bit of rake, but overall it's pretty good. I also went from the stock alloy wheels up to a 20-inch, like 2009-ish alloy, and that was mostly just because I hated the wheels that came on it and I wanted to see what a bigger wheel would look like. So I ran those for a while, and then once I basically committed to some more work that I plan to do in the future, which I'll talk about in a second, the 20-inch wheels were going to look too big. So I picked up a set of these 15x8 C10 rally wheels with the newer style GMC center caps and some Cooper Cobras. Basically 15 and 20 inch are the two sizes where you can get a really inexpensive brand name wheel, everything, or tire I should say. Everything else is pretty expensive. So these Coopers are like $1.60 a piece, so if you burn them off, it kind of doesn't matter because it's a pretty inexpensive tire but still brand name. Go around to the back of the truck, swapped out the black bumper for a nice chrome bumper. Working on getting a low pro trailer hitch so I don't have to tow off the ball on the bumper. Inside, not a lot's changed. I swapped in the 60/40 bench from the green truck because that's got buckets now. And aside from that, really not a whole lot to say here. I got a 454 SS style front valance with the fog lights. Still need to wire those up. I'm just there for show for the moment. Of course, it's got the nicer GMC grille with the dual headlight as opposed to the work truck grille that I had before. As far as mechanical work that I've had to do to the truck, you can see obviously the intake setup. Basically, this had a emissions lower intake manifold with EGR and everything, and the truck had an intermittent skip that would kind of come and go, and I was trying to figure out what it was. So I figured, you know, this thing's not going to have EGR on it when I do all the other work I want, so let's just get rid of that to try to help diagnose the skip. That didn't wind out being it, but it was still good to do that anyway. I got the upper intake flange from KB Diesel. I'll be using that down the road once this thing has a turbo. Determined that the skip was actually air intrusion on the return side of the fuel system. So anyone that's got a 6.5, you're familiar, there's like a formed like 1/4 inch, almost like steel brake line type material that collects return fuel from both of the injector banks from the ejection pump, and it's basically a manifold that sends it back. And one day I was out here kind of looking at the truck, and I just kind of like poked the manifold and the truck shut off. So I figured it's got to be getting air into the return. So I made this setup with a couple of T's and some special small diameter fuel hose and clamps. And so I have both injector returns, the injection pump return, and then it sends it all back to the factory return. When I got the lower intake manifold, the previous guy cut the tabs off in the back that are necessary for mounting the fuel filter manager, so just made a little bracket to move it up to the front. Put an alternator in it, and this thing still, the serpentine belt, something's fucked up in here. I don't know who was in here before me. The truck's got enough miles on it that people have definitely been in here. But anyway, it kind of wears a serpentine belt funny. So I have the AC delete pulley on there, and I did also replace the main pulley on the crank. So thing runs awesome. Starts hard. I think it needs glow plugs, but it's really, for being, you know, a puke 140 horse, it really gets up and goes okay. So plans for the truck, it's going to go down another 2 inches. I've got lowering coils for the front and lowering spring hangers for the rear. A couple months ago, I picked up a short bed for it. So we're going to cut it down, make it a 6.5 foot bed. I've got turbo manifolds for the engine, a full exhaust kit. I'm going to try and do kind of like old school chrome turn down dual exhaust in the rear, kind of embrace the, I don't want to call it a hot rod, but the V8 rumble that these 6.5s have, even with a turbo on them. Shopping a couple different turbo options at the moment. Probably going to go with another Borg like what was on the green truck, but still kind of trying to figure it out, because this thing is so different than the green truck. I feel like I can't just copy and paste the green truck setup onto this and have it work. So probably going to start out with something cheap like an HX35 just to bolt on for reference, and then use that to help inform my turbo decision for the newer, more expensive Borg. And then beyond that, just basic fuel system upgrades. I have a Raptor lift pump on order for it, same as what the green truck had. It'll get all new fuel lines. I don't know if I'm going to do a sump on this one or not. Probably looking at a set of Cal tracks for the rear. At some point, I'd like to pull the engine, do the glow plugs, do the exhaust manifolds, paint the motor, pull the trans, paint the trans, new fluid in the trans, South Bend clutch, whole list of stuff. So this is a great little truck. I've been real happy with it. I sold my Honda. Don't miss that one bit. This thing's a blast, even if it is kind of gutless. So, and it's been really nice to have a usable, drivable truck to have in the meantime while the green truck is still down. So there's an update for y'all on the little red truck. Pretty exciting stuff coming for it in the future, hopefully. And it should be a fun little project. Hopefully everything on this goes pretty easy. You know, we're not reinventing the wheel like the green truck. So there you go. Hopefully have a video on the green truck for you guys coming soon, but in the meantime, here's one for you on the red one.